This one right here is the Samsung Galaxy A23 5G smartphone. Now this one is probably one of the more affordable mid-range smartphones with a price of just 280 euros. Now for that price we get a 50 megapixel main camera with OIS, which is probably not the best suited for videos, but we get to that later on in the video. We get 5G connectivity so we can play games on the go, and we get quite a few gesture controls. But first up, let's see what we get inside the box. In here we get, of course, the smartphone itself. In addition, we get a bunch of paper stuff like the quick starting guide and a warranty card in basically every language, a USB-C to USB-C charging cable, and as for last, the little thingy that opens up your SIM card slot. Alright, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk a little bit about some specs and the design. And one of the reasons this phone is that cheap is that this one is covered in plastic. So the whole backside is plastic and the frame is plastic too, and the stuff right around the cameras as well. Now the awesome thing about this phone is that we have 4 different cameras on the backside. We get a 50 megapixel main camera with OIS, a 5 megapixel ultra wide lens, and 2 megapixel depth and macro lenses. On the front side we get a standard selfie camera with 8 megapixel, and the Galaxy A23 might be one of the last new smartphones that will still have a 3.5mm jack on the bottom side of the phone, plus a normal USB charging port. On the front we have a 6.6-inch PLS LCD display with 90 Hz, and we have Corning Gorilla Glass 5. Now we also have a face detect so we can unlock the phone, so that works very good, and of course we have the standard fingerprint sensor as well, which, yeah, there we go, which works good as well. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about the One UI 4.1 and the features that we get on this phone. By double tapping the lower button, you can either open up your camera or you can connect any of your existing apps to this button, so you can quickly open up your Gmail, one of your games, or maybe Netflix. Some more cool things that you can do on this phone is to swipe up and down on your lower button to open up your quick panel or to quickly close it again. You get the usual lift awake feature or just double tap the screen, or you can just double tap on an empty space on your display to turn off the display. And the probably coolest feature is that you can take very long screenshots. You know, sometimes the screen just doesn't cover the whole picture or the whole text, but by tapping on the little arrow after you took a screenshot, you can create an infinite long screenshot. Now over to the performance and the gaming experience. Now, the Samsung Galaxy A23 has the Qualcomm Snapdragon 695 in it, which is a common chipset that we find in a lot of mid-range smartphones, which definitely isn't a bad thing. And this one has 5G connectivity as well, so we can play games on the go or do some quick Google searches. Now, since we have 64 gigs of internal storage, which is expandable, and 4 gigs of RAM, we have more than enough rooms for games. As for the performance, I was playing my usual car racing games, and I did have some lags in the loading screen and during some crashes in-game, but besides that, everything was working just fine. Next up, we got a battery life. So the Galaxy A23 packs a 5000 mAh battery, and in combination with the energy efficient Snapdragon 695, you will easily get through a whole day, even while you're watching some YouTube and Twitch streams. Next up, let's talk right quick about the display and the sound quality. Now, as for the sound, as you can see, we only have one speaker on the bottom side of this phone, which means the sound really isn't the best. But I mean, that's only 280, so I mean, what do we expect? Also, the video quality, I was kind of surprised about that one. This one is actually not that bad. The blacks are pretty black, you get quite some contrast, and overall I did have a good experience watching videos. Okay, let's finally get to the camera test. And as I already mentioned, this phone has 4 different cameras on the backside, and you have one selfie camera, all for different purposes. So we have a 50 megapixel main camera, we have ultra wide lenses, and we have a macro camera. Now, the bad thing about this smartphone is that the video quality is really not that great, which is probably the reason I wouldn't suggest buying this phone. Now, you only have 1080p with 30 frames per second for the main and for your selfie camera, which really isn't that great, so no 60 FPS and no 4K resolution. But just let me show you some pictures and some videos so you can see for yourself. Alright, let's get to the video test. Now, right now, I'm recording in 1080p with 30 frames per second with the selfie camera. We will also check out the main camera afterwards, but that's how it looks like. Now, as I already told you, this one is not capable of doing any 6K, nor is it capable of doing 4K videos. Alright, here we go with the main camera. Now, as I already told you, 1080p and 30 frames per second is the only thing that you can do. No 60 frames per second and no 4K video shots. So, that's about it.
Posting pictures on the gram so other people know that we're more than friends. And ever since you came around, I've never been sober, always in my head. Met you at a time when I was so low, went from just talking to taking you home. I don't wanna go back to who I used to be, so if you ever leave me,
And guys, there we have it. That's the Samsung Galaxy A23. And if you liked the video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next one. Peace!